But I really want to do it on GitHub. How do I close the toolbox? Ah, there we go. We are live!
People are losing their minds.
Let me mute that. We are live. I can see myself.
Are we live?
I can see myself.
We're live in 2 places.
Really?
Well, if you go to YouTube for the .NET Foundation, there's 2 live streams now.
Oh, yeah, because there's multiple people
fancy.
streaming. That is fancy. There is no one on this. There we go.
Are people coming?
Now they're questioning why we're in Hangouts again.
Well, because we don't have OBS set up at my house.
Well, sure, but it's also much easier
elsewhere.
on location. It's really about these on location calls. All right, let me do this. That totally didn't work.
So you're going to need to pan us around and explain what's happening too.
I will. Once we get a few people here and we introduce
know the context.
There we go. Getting my screen set up. Oh, this is going to give my laptop a workout today. Let's have a look. What do we got? 32 people watching. It's amazing. Did you tweet?
I did not tweet. Let me tweet.
How about...
I'm finding that there's a lot of people who follow who don't care. So when I tweet, they're like, I don't care.
Well, follow the whole person.
I know.
I'm seeing a lot of people really confused that the .NET Foundation has multiple streams on it. And they're wondering why they're looking at GitHub triage and not looking at... Because they would have got an alert, right? If you subscribe to the user.
Oh, they would have got the...
Oh, it's live now. And they've gone on there thinking it's going to be the community stand-up. And it's
Is it Hack Day or Hack-A-Day?
What's that?
Is it Hack Day or Hack-A-Day? What do you all call it? Hack Day? One hack? What's it called?
I'm looking at all the propaganda in front of me.
I'll just call it Hack Day.
It just says hackathon. Like, see?
All right. Got it.
That's all these stickers we received. Hack, the garage, hack. It's all about hacking things in the positive sense. All right. How many people we got? 56. All right. That's probably enough. All the people are lost looking at GitHub triage.
Well,
but we're here.
They'll come back.
They'll come back. Well, it's good to see you again. We haven't seen you on the call in a while.
John Galloway. Where's John Galloway? He's on vacation, right?
He's on vacation, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello from San Diego. Hello from London. Well, you got to read the text of your notification to actually know what show is live.
Kind of here. John Galloway is literally in the chat.
Oh, John.
Yeah, you're going to lose points for that, friend.
Seriously, John.
You're a bad person. You don't need to log in. I should kick him. I have OP, right? I should be able to have off.
And you're his manager, so that is incredibly appropriate.
That is going on your review. You're a bad person.
Hello from Wales. Hello, Jason. 2 vacations in New Jersey. Apparently, John does.
Cool.
All righty.
All right. Yeah, so this will be a short one, but you are at the Hack Day. So let's...
It's not a day.
It's multiple days. So it's a giant tent. Like, give me a tour.
Oh, you have no idea.
I actually do have an idea. I was there last week watching it get built.
I know you're asking leading questions, but you're supposed to go with me. It's like improv.
That looks like a big tent, Damien.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Wow, I don't.
It is not only a big tent. This is just one of 2 tents. And I'd see if I can just, I'm just going to do the really crude. So that's down one end. That's the hub. That's in the middle of the tent. It's kind of disingenuous to call it a tent, really. And then I'm going to rotate around.
Built out of.
It's basically a building that's been built out of, it's a professional marquee type thing. This is one. There are 2 of them. And then in the middle, there is like a catering and outdoor, picnic tables and all that type of stuff as well. So it is a seriously bigger thing. I think they said there are 21,000. So here's the map.
Is this the biggest one ever?
I am in one of those squares. I'm in the one on the bottom. I'm in Code Former.
Okay. This is on the soccer field, right?
This is usually where I play softball. So
softball.
Our softball league was cut short this year because of hackathon and because they're rebuilding half the campus after this. knocking down half the buildings and building new ones.
Mm.
So there's I think 21,000 people involved over numerous different offices. Obviously, most of them are here. I don't know how many people are in these two tents, but a lot. And it officially started at noon yesterday and goes through to noon tomorrow, and it's like 24 hours around the clock. And then there's some science fair to show off what you built on the Thursday, if your team chooses to. So we have a team that is comprised of. Let me introduce you. There's Taylor. There's Brian N. And there's the intern. Sorry, what's your name again?
So
it's
me.
Dylan.
So
and
me.
there's Andrew. I don't think I've ever literally said Dylan's name out loud. So now I'll remember your name,
unnamed
Dylan.
intern.
What's that? Unnamed intern. Yes. And I am the only PM here so far. We are doing it's not a particularly earth-shattering project. We're not going to change the world and solve hunger or cure any diseases, but we do get to use some tech that we haven't before. So you remember Shooter, right?
Yeah, that's the video game built on SignalR that's like asteroids.
Yeah, that's right. This is a project to add the ability to register bots or like AI-driven autonomous-y things with Shooter, and then pit them against each other so that you can they can fly around each other autonomously and one can win, I guess. So we're trying to use a bunch of different tech. We want to make it so that you can submit a bot that's running on a PaaS, so like Azure Functions, so you don't have to worry about hosting your code.
So it's like Terraria, except with asteroid shooters, and I can make my own bot.
You can make your own, and then you could use ML.net or the new machine learning.
So it's
.NET library. What's that?
BattleBots.net edition.
It's BattleBots.net using Shooter, and so we've dusted off the code. It got moved to the new Signaler earlier this year, I think, or last year. Brennan did that. Taylor originally wrote Shooter and Ngate, which is the library, the game library it's built on top of. And we're all familiarizing ourselves with this library 6 years after the fact, or 5 years after the fact again. I currently am attempting to update it to support high DPI screens, and it is proving to be quite a lot harder than I had initially hoped. If anyone on the call has ever done canvas rendering for high DPI, there is a technique you have to do, but I need to like embed that into the library's rendering abstractions and blah 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 blah.
I'm hearing you tell me that this is not automatic.
It's not what?
It's not automatic.
It's not automatic by a long stretch. I found the original like Illustrator assets, so I have Illustrator open and I scaled up all the sprites. But now I have to update the rendering engine to like understand that 1 pixel doesn't actually equal 1 pixel. It equals more.
So let me ask a couple of ignorant questions.
Go for it.
How come it's not just like SVGs and everything scales magically, and you use a relative coordinate system, and then everything just scales magically for you?
So that's a good question. My understanding, I'm talking to Taylor about this, is that he could have chosen to, I guess, make the engine render in SVG, but game engines still have to deal typically in some absolute unit, even if it's virtual, right? Because you need to do calculations of collisions, and everyone has to agree, and this is a server multiplayer game, right? And so everyone has to agree on 1 unit equaling 1 unit for the terms of math, and then we just need to do this translation at the rendering layer.
Okay, so then you're going to have to do what we did in WinForms days and look at the device window pixel ratio.
That's right, and that's what we have on in the DOM. There's a window.device pixel ratio property, which in my case is 2 because I have a 4K screen running at 200%, so it basically appears as a 1080p screen. But the logic of what scale and like what size the canvas is and how that affects math is kind of a little more deeply embedded in the rendering than we had realized. And so our current goal is to just monkey patch the canvas draw methods and apply the translation there and see if that fixes it.
So you're playing whack-a-mole with the...
We're playing whack-a-mole. Yeah. And then the rendering in has like a virtual camera so that you can change the camera, and that has its own zoom scale. So like we got to figure out how all these things interplay with each other. So it's interesting.
Don't typically games have a... like I remember, this is again, I'm literally thinking about the time I wrote an app for the Palm Pilot, and the Palm Pilot was going from 160 by 160 to 320 by 320. Like this was the high DPI Palm Pilot. And I ended up making a 1000 by 1000 virtual offline screen, and I bulleted everything to that. And then translated.
So what Engate does is it has an off-screen canvas, so it does double buffering, right? It has an off-screen canvas and a visual canvas, which it keeps in sync. And then the technique for doing canvas high DPI is you have to scale the physical canvas. The DOM object should be basically the multiple of your device pixel ratio. So in my case, it's going to be twice the size of what the virtual pixels are. And then you're supposed to use CSS to shrink it back down again. And then that will maintain the correct scale of any high DPI assets that you have. But then just extrapolating that throughout all the various layers is where we're kind of running into a couple of things right now. So yeah, we'll keep hacking at it. We'll figure it out. The rest of the team is Taylor's been working on the bot API. So this is the client-side sort of SDK that you use to write your bot. And then I think I can't remember what everyone else is doing. Brendan, what are you doing? Oh, he was fixing the boost. You did that. Oh, he's doing camera tracking now. So now you can click on a ship and then it'll, like, you can be an observer and you can follow it around rather than playing. You can just observe. So you can watch your bot in action, which is pretty cool. And then Andrew is doing, he built the spectator mode yesterday that Brendan is building on top of to do the clicky thing. And there's a few people not here, so I don't know what John was doing or Justin. Nate. Okay. Okay. So everyone's basically working on different aspects of getting this thing going, which is a bit of fun. So yeah, and there's probably, some very cool other projects here, but I'm not authorized to talk about those. So.
Okay, I know that there's a couple of diabetes ones that were going on, and so not to trivialize yours, but it'll solve a problem. It'll be an interesting tutorial. It is solving problems that we have, but it's not necessarily going to save babies. But someone could be there saving babies right now.
Yeah, literally. I think a couple of them last year. One used a Connect to do ASL interpretation as part of a translation system.
So you could American Sign Language.
Oh yeah, American Sign Language. As you said, I know there has been a couple of diabetes ones over the last couple of years around using IoT devices and whatnot to help tracking that type of stuff. I'm just looking around trying to see if I can see. I see one called Bear Spray. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's literally they're making a bear spray. Security in a box.
I don't even know what that is if they made it literally.
Yeah, I don't know. There's one here called Data Translator. I'm not quite sure what that does. The one behind me.
The company shuts down, Microsoft shuts down to do this?
Basically everyone at Microsoft is invited and encouraged to participate in the hackathon. So, and as I said, this is a seriously impressive setup. These aren't tents. These are, semi-permanent structures that are beautifully air-conditioned, and there's a lot of networking and
a lot of work went into it.
A lot of work that goes into this, and there's security, and it's a big deal. And it's just for these 3 days. They've been setting up this place for a couple of weeks now, just to have it run for this few days. So it's cool.
Last year we made a team that I was involved with early on. Made there's a thing called Team Type 1. It's a diabetes cycling team.
Mm-hmm.
And Team Type 1, they're all Type 1 diabetics, and they all wear these sensors. So that's a diabetes management sensor. Mm-hmm. So then we made an aggregating dashboard to sit on top of that. So you watch 20 cyclists racing around. They all had little tiny Android phones, the tiniest Android phone you could find, bouncing from the sensor to the phone to the cloud to the dashboard, so that the doctor could watch all of these folks and make sure that none of them bonked.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Cool. So when are you up on GitHub? Can we watch this?
It's on Andrew's. Let me show you.
Show us that so we can literally dramatically hit refresh and watch you.
Let me show you.
Commit in real time.
So here's the local instance of the game. Can you see my screen now?
Yep. Do you want pull requests, or do we just watch?
Oh, people are free to send pull requests. We'll see them.
They can hack with you at the same time.
And hang out with us. You can see that everything looks too small. So everything is high res, but it's too small because the scaling isn't working properly. So I'm halfway through getting this working. The repo. Let me open the repo.
Feels like there should be a library or a polyfill or a just figure it out button.
Well, sure, it would be if I didn't have this complicated gaming engine sitting on top of it that has its own concept of scale. If you just want to do campus scaling, the docs are here. It's not that bad.
I see. So the issue is that and who wrote this the first time?
This is Taylor.
So Taylor's original Taylor engine.
Yes. So like this
Made
is the code. Like
assumptions.
I'm deep in the middle of like rendering.ts where he's got, you know, different scale metrics and like,
Yeah,
you know,
wow.
and there's numbers hard coded everywhere and like new types, and it's
Doesn't
not just change the
doesn't TypeScript let you like right click refactor everything, or do you literally like copying dot scale in front of everything?
No, it's not that at all. Like it's actually what tripped me up this time was that I had added calls to dot scale somewhere up here,
Mm,
without realizing that this is what I added, right? Trying to scale to
sure.
the DPR.
Yeah.
But this is not being used because he sets a scale whenever he's actually rendering the camera.
Oh my.
And that's a different scale. So this is pointless. This actually isn't doing anything. So I'm resizing the canvas, which is the first half of the equation. I'm scaling it back down with CSS, but my scaling is not applying because he's using the canvas scaling to get the camera to render. So he's taking advantage of the canvas's native ability to do scale factors, but he's using it as part of the camera rendering. So if I try and use it to do high DPI, they kind of like, they cancel each other out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I need to allow for them in both places. Or I need to, the first hack we were going to do is just try to manually apply the scale ratio by monkey patching the draw image method. And so when someone says, please draw this thing onto the canvas with these coordinates, I was just going to multiply all those coordinates by the scale factor, the device pixel ratio, and just like translate it at the actual source. But we don't know if that works yet. I got halfway through it, so we'll see what happens. But the repo, where was I? Back here. This is the repo here, anurse/Hungar Games. I don't think we've done a particularly good job of opening issues. I think we're just like hacking on stuff because we're all here.
I'm sure you're all working very carefully on a feature branch, right? Like people do.
Oh yeah, we're totally in feature
God
branches.
forbid that you are committing directly to master.
No one has broken everyone else when they've checked something in. That has not happened yet at all.
Continuous integration you have running on.
We do have CI. We do have CI set up, I believe, right? And we have no tests though. And it does deploy somewhere.
And how
Where
old is Shooter? How old is Shooter?
So Shooter itself, how old is Shooter? What build was that? 2012? No. How old was Shooter, the game? 2012? I mean, we're looking at the Illustrator file, right? We dug up the email. This is the original assets that were put together by Jonah for us. And I've gone and scaled them all, learned how to use the new version of Illustrator. But yeah, I think this was 2012. We got this email. I was looking yesterday, nearly 6 years ago.
Wow.
So it's pretty nuts. So let me get back to.
And what did you upgrade the app to .NET Core 2, or are you on whatever it was before?
No, so Brandon, as part of building Signaler Core, Signaler for ASP.NET Core, he updated Shooter. So he kind of hacked it on top of Signaler, the new Signaler, 5 months ago? And then we did a little bit more cleanup yesterday in order to get some new features working. And so, yeah, basically it's running on new Signaler already,
Nice.
but it's still using this game engine from 6 years ago.
Taylor
just got out of college.
Somewhere around here we have a copy of Jabber that's been upgraded to Core as well. It could be, I think it got updated to Core 2. It needs to be upgraded to 2.1.
Right.
To dig that up somewhere as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a couple of, we got one. Shooter's probably a substantial demo app, and it's got a lot to understand, obviously, because gaming is a whole other area of expertise that I know nothing about it, which is why I'm spelunking my way through here, just like feeling around in the dark. But it's fun.
So show it to us again as we close our stand up here.
Oh, well, I just wanted to say one more. I wanted to say one thing about ASP.NET Core and .NET Core and EF Core before I close. So we have a servicing release coming out. The August servicing release is finishing up right now.
Okay.
We have a candidate build that we're preparing. I will be sharing that publicly this week. It's a nightly build that has all the fixes that we're planning for 2.1.3. And so when I do share that later this week, it'd be great if folks who are willing could try that out. Now, because it's a nightly, you can install it fairly safely. It uses a custom NuGet feed, so it shouldn't really pollute anything. They have unique version numbers with prefixes, with suffixes for preview releases. So it's not like a true release candidate build where if you install it, it looks like the real build, and if we happen to find something, you have to go and uninstall it again if we rebuild. But I'll let folks know when that's available. There's between like 50 or 60 fixes in the August servicing release, so it's a fairly substantial one. And so we would appreciate folks giving it a try. once it's available. So that was my only formal business I wanted to share today. But let me share my screen again. So yeah, this is the repo. And if anyone out there is familiar with Canvas scaling and wants to dive into the guts of Ngate, which is the game engine here, and help me figure out all the various 2D translations and layers that we have going on and see what we'd have to do to apply the scaling correctly, by all means, shoot me a message and we'll figure it out together.
Okay, so to be clear, folks that are watching or maybe just showed up, if you have expertise in Canvas and high DPI, you could definitely jump in and help out here.
Yeah, and if quick to learn a new TypeScript code base that has 14 different layers of abstraction when it comes to drawing graphics, then that'll help out.
Who's that? Does that sound like David? Is Fowler there?
David's not here. No, that was Taylor.
Oh, okay.
David is coming, he said, but he hasn't turned up yet. So.
Well, it's the crack of 11 a.m., so
Well, this is true. This is true.
Can the intern hear us, or are they?
Yeah, Dylan's down. He can't hear us. No, it's just me. Only the people who can hear is me. I got the headset on.
All right, cool. Give us a pan again as we close here. I want to make sure people see how much stuff's going on there.
So let me
go slow because it's JPEGy.
Well, there's Taylor's face.
Okay.
There we go. That's looking to the back corner that way.
Okay.
I can pan across and see into the back goes Andrew and Dylan.
Are you wired? They set up a wired network and everything.
Yeah. There's a wired network and Wi-Fi. They want everyone to use the wired if they can.
Help hub. Oh, did you go away? Uh-oh. I think I asked him to move his. Laptop, and he probably pulled the wire out. And he's gone. Tragedy, folks. Hopefully he's okay. I will make sure. Yes, apparently his laptop shut down. Did it literally turn off, Andrew? Well, exactly. Speaking of networks, well, it's okay. Anyway, so take a look at that. It's up on Andrew Nurse's GitHub under Hunger Games. You can go ahead and watch the commits and then chat Damien or Andrew Nurse and friends on Twitter if you have any experience with game engines and want to help out. I'm sure that they're literally working on it right now, so you could give them a call or talk to them and help out, because right now they're just randomly putting scale commands in throughout a bunch of TypeScript. Anyway, I'm going to go back to work, and I will catch you all later. Thank you for coming to the ASP.NET Community Stand-Up. Oh, I have to do the dramatic zoom out. Dramatic zoom out. It's so dramatic. Oh, the wire's pulling my head.